You're listening to the Study Legal English podcast, the world's first legal English podcast, helping lawyers and law students become fluent in legal English. Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Study Legal English podcast. I am your host Louise, and over the next few shows I'll be talking to you about networking in English. In previous episodes I've already covered preparing for an event, small talk and business talk, and in the coming weeks we'll be looking at following up with phone calls, emails and meetings. In today's episode, we'll be looking specifically at listening carefully and clarifying. So, let's get started. Remember that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Therefore, one of the key steps to achieving this relationship is to listen and take an interest in what people say. It might seem like a straightforward thing to do, but so many of my students worry about being able to understand people who speak English. They complain that the Spanish have a strong accent, the Italians talk too fast, and native English speakers use so many phrasal verbs that it's impossible to understand them correctly. This specific episode is about how to listen effectively and what to do when you don't understand someone. So let's discuss active listening. Firstly, make sure you fully concentrate on the person who is talking. Try not to let your mind wander to your smartphone or to your emails or to thoughts about what you'll eat for dinner. Secondly, don't talk, but do use fillers. These are things which show you are listening. In English, we say things like, okay, yes, right, oh right, wow, gosh, I see, or is that so? Thirdly, take note of the person's body language and use your own. For example, smile, shrug, use gestures in response to show that you're supporting that person in what they're saying. Fourthly, ask reflective questions. If there are any issues you are uncertain about or comments that aren't clear to you, repeat back what you just heard and ask if you understood correctly. Clarifying straight away can avoid miscommunication later on. And finally, listen to the words and phrases the speaker is using, and to a certain degree, repeat these words when you respond. Now let's turn to clarifying techniques. If you really are actively listening and are experiencing problems with understanding the person you are talking to, you will need to seek clarification. There are two main reasons why you will need clarification. It will either be because you didn't hear what the person said, or because you simply don't understand what the person said. Let's look at more detail at these two situations. Firstly, the situation where you didn't hear properly. This situation can arise when you are distracted and not listening properly, or if there is too much background noise, or simply that the person isn't speaking loud enough. In this situation, you can use clarifiers such as these.
Excuse me, could you repeat what you just said? I didn't hear because of the noise.
Excuse me, could you repeat what you just said? I didn't hear because of the noise.
Sorry to interrupt. I missed that last part. It's so noisy in here. Could you please repeat it?
Sorry to interrupt. I missed that last part. It's so noisy in here. Could you please repeat it?
I am sorry, I didn't catch that because of the noise. Could you repeat it, please?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that because of the noise. Could you repeat it, please?
Sorry, could you speak up a little?
Sorry, could you speak up a little? In the second situation, you don't understand the English properly. This situation can arise when the speaker is using new vocabulary, grammatical structures, colloquial language, idioms which you simply don't understand. Perhaps their level of English is higher than yours. Or perhaps the speaker is speaking too fast or too quietly, or you can't understand their accent. Or perhaps don't forget that it could also be that the other speaker's English is worse than yours, and it is difficult to understand it fully because they aren't using grammar or vocabulary in the right way, which can be a little confusing and lead to you doubting your own level of English. Let's listen to some of these clarifying phrases.
Can I just clarify something about what you just said?
Can I just clarify something about what you just said?
Sorry, could you speak more slowly, please? I didn't quite understand that last part.
Sorry, could you speak more slowly, please? I didn't quite understand that last part.
Would you mind spelling that for me, please?
Would you mind spelling that for me, please?
Can you go over that again, please? Honestly, I'm afraid I don't understand fully. Could you maybe give an example?
Can you go over that again, please? Honestly, I'm afraid I don't understand fully. Could you maybe give an example?
Could you just clarify what you meant when you mentioned Brexit and real estate developments?
Could you just clarify what you meant when you mentioned Brexit and real estate developments?
When you said Brexit could have a major impact on the real estate developments here, were you referring to the uncertainty of the markets?
When you said Brexit could have a major impact on the real estate developments here, were you referring to the uncertainty of the markets?
Thank you. So your main points are that firstly, the market is very unstable at the moment, and secondly, EU citizens' rights are also unclear. Is that correct?
Thank you. So your main points are that, firstly, the market is very unstable at the moment, and secondly, EU citizens' rights are also unclear. Is that correct?
Great, thank you for explaining it. Please carry on.
Great, thank you for explaining it. Please carry on. So let's move now to the dialogue. In today's episode, we'll be hearing from two Russian lawyers who meet at a conference and are having some difficulty communicating in English. As you listen, pay attention to the fillers they use to show that they are actively listening and key phrases to clarify things when they don't understand. So, first, we'll hear the dialogue at a slow pace.
Hello, can I join you?
Oh, yes, of course, that's fine.
Hi, I am Alexander.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. It's quite noisy in here.
Yes, sure, I said I am Alexander.
Ah, hi Alexander, I'm Natasha. Great to meet you.
Thank you, great to meet you too.
So, Alexander, have you come far for the conference?
Sorry, Natasha, could you speak up a little? You are right about the noise.
Have you come far for the conference?
Ah, yes, all the way from Russia, from St. Petersburg. Where are you from?
I'm from Russia too. I live and work in Moscow.
Oh, right, I had an inkling that you were from Russia too. What do you do?
I work for a startup company as the in-house lawyer. What about you?
I'm a lawyer too, at a city law firm. What specifically are you working on at the moment?
Well, because the company is a startup, I have to prepare and file a lot of the documents. Things are really busy. It keeps me on my toes.
I'm sorry, Natasha, can you go over that again, please? Honestly, I'm afraid I don't understand fully. Could you speak a little slower?
That's okay. I mentioned that I have to prepare a document, for example, the Articles of Association, template contracts, and file various documents with company's house.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you.
Great. So now that we've listened to the dialogue, let's discuss some of the vocabulary. First, you'll hear the vocabulary. There will then be a beep and a short pause for you to repeat the vocabulary. This is followed by the definition. Then we'll hear an example sentence from the dialogue, followed by another example of using the vocabulary. Then there'll be a beep and a short pause for you to repeat the new phrase. Number 1. To catch something. To catch something can mean to grasp something by your mind, to hear or to understand something. It is often used in the negative sense or as a question, for example, did you catch that or I didn't catch that. Sometimes, if you have been talking to someone for a long time and haven't been introduced by name, it is said as an indirect way to ask someone his or her name by saying, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, or I didn't catch what company you work for. Natasha said,
Sorry, I didn't catch that. It's quite noisy in here.
Repeat after the beep. Did you catch the website name the speaker just mentioned? Number 2. To speak up. To speak up means to speak louder. Alexandra said,
Sorry, Natasha, could you speak up a little? You are right about the noise.
Repeat after the beep. Could you speak up, please? Number 3. To have an inkling. To have an inkling can mean to have a very slight, uncertain idea or suspicion about something. Alexander said,
Oh, right, I had an inkling that you were from Russia too.
Repeat after the beep. I had an inkling you were planning something, but I didn't know exactly what. Number 4. In-house lawyer. An in-house lawyer refers to a lawyer who is employed by one company and represents only that company. Natasha said,
I work for a startup company as the in-house lawyer.
Repeat after the beep. There are a few differences between working in-house and for a law firm. Number 5. To file documents. To file documents means to place a document in a specific place, in a specific order, so that it is organized. Natasha said,
I have to prepare and file a lot of the documents.
Repeat after the beep. Have you filed the documents yet? Number 6. It keeps me on my toes. To keep one on one's toes means to keep you alert and ready to respond. Natasha said,
Things are really busy. It keeps me on my toes.
Repeat after the beep. Work keeps me on my toes. There's really not much free time. Number 7. To go over something. To go over something can mean to consider, examine, or check or speak about something. Alexander said,
I'm sorry, Natasha, can you go over that again, please?
Repeat after the beep. Can we go over these project plans again, please? Great, so now let's listen to the dialogue again at a more natural speed.
Hello, can I join you?
Oh, yes, of course, that's fine.
Hi, I am Alexander.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. It's quite noisy in here.
Yes, sure, I said I am Alexander.
Ah, hi, Alexander. I'm Natasha. Great to meet you.
Thank you, great to meet you too.
So, Alexander, have you come far for the conference?
Sorry, Natasha, could you speak up a little? You are right about the noise.
Have you come far for the conference?
Ah, yes, all the way from Russia, from St. Petersburg. Where are you from?
I'm from Russia too. I live and work in Moscow.
All right, I had an inkling that you were from Russia too. What do you do?
I work for a startup company as the in-house lawyer. What about you?
I am a lawyer too, at a city law firm. What specifically are you working on at the moment?
Well, because the company is a startup, I have to prepare and file a lot of the documents. Things are really busy. It keeps me on my toes.
I'm sorry, Natasha, can you go over that again, please? Honestly, I'm afraid I don't understand fully. Could you speak a little slower?
That's okay. I mentioned that I have to prepare documents, for example, the Articles of Association, template contract, and file various documents with company's house.
Oh, that's interesting, thank you.
And finally, let's do a quick recap. Firstly, remember to actively listen. Make sure you avoid distractions, focus and respond with fillers. Secondly, clarify in situations where you don't understand what was said. Don't be too afraid to do this, as it's very important, and ensuring you have understood the person correctly shows that you are genuinely interested in what they are saying. So that's the end of today's episode, and a big thank you to my students Tatiana, Dimitri and Matthew for helping with today's dialogue, where we've covered how to listen effectively and clarify to avoid misunderstandings. In the next episode, we'll be covering how to deal with interruptions and how to move on at a networking event. For more practice, Podcast Pro members can access online learning materials, including transcripts of the shows and quizzes to test your knowledge. If you're not a member yet, you can sign up for a free trial at www.studylegalenglish.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others, and if you have any feedback or topic requests, I would love to hear from you. You can get in touch by email info@studylegalenglish.com or on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening and see you next time.